Welcome once again to today's class, and I hope you had a great day. So, today we are on Module 4 and we shall be talking on DeFi security. So, what is DeFi security and how do we secure ourselves in decentralized finance, in this space of decentralized finance? That's essentially what we are going to be talking about today. So, let's move on to the introduction. So in the world of decentralized finance, new tools, application software, in the last class, I explained that DeFi tools are not your traditional tools that requires you to work with your hands. They are tools that are softwares. They are programmed into the computer. So in the world of decentralized finance, new tools, application software pop up every day. So to make the most of decentralized finance, you must be up and doing and also updated with the latest trends. So to make the most of DeFi is something that requires you to be constantly evolving, to be constantly making research. You don't just come into DeFi space, do a couple of learnings and sit down and hope that the knowledge you've gathered at that particular point in time is enough to take you for months or to keep generating income for you for a very long period of time. No, to make the most of DeFi, you must be up and doing. You must be updated with the latest trends, because trends, you see, this space work with trends. There are certain times that something might come up that might serve as a catalyst to a coin rising, and if you are not up to date with the latest trend, you might not know when those catalysts, you might not pick them, you might not notice them on time for you to be able to key in and make the most. So that is why it's essential that you are up and doing. So understand that innovations happen every day and you can get outdated in less than 2 weeks. So if you come into DeFi space and after gathering knowledge, gathering information, and you don't utilize those information, you don't utilize the knowledge you've gathered, and you don't add to it, you can get outdated. For instance, there was a time when I came in, when I started initially, after about 2 months, then I was writing exams. I think that was last 2 years. I was writing exams. So the exams, the period of the exam was about a month. I believe when I came back, I found it difficult to kind of cope, because the information, the what's it called, the updates, the trends that were happening at that point in time, they were completely different from when I left or where I stopped initially. So it took me a while before I was able to find my footing. So that's exactly how it is in this DeFi space. So because innovations happen every day, people, just the way we are talking, we are discussing now, there are people all over the world, there are developers all over the world brainstorming, thinking, what new thing can we bring, what novel idea can we implement in blockchain technology. So it's essential that you must be you must be up and doing. You must constantly be making research. So understand that in the same way you multiply your efforts to increase your assets, bad guys also increase their work rates to steal from you, which is why this module on DeFi security is of utmost importance. So you are here to gather knowledge or to gain information that's on investing in cryptocurrencies that you can use to grow your portfolio, to grow your assets. Just the same way you are here to utilize knowledge for positive things, there are also people out there trying to gain knowledge to steal. Because understand that in this world we are, good and bad will always exist. There's, no matter how you try to do it, good and bad, it has been programmed, good and bad must always exist. You can't completely wipe good away from the world, and you can't completely wipe evil away from the world. So in as much as you are out here to learn and to do good or to provide value in some way and make money, there are also people out there increasing their work rate, learning new tactics to steal from you. So it's essential that you understand the nitty-gritty of security in DeFi space, because in decentralized finance, unlike the traditional setting where, let's assume you have an issue with your bank, you can just go to the bank and lodge a complaint that I noticed there are some suspicious activities with my account, or maybe there was a transaction that I didn't authorize. I was debited and I didn't authorize that transaction. The bank will be able to take it up from there. They will be able to fight for you. But in this DeFi space, there's no one to run to, because in DeFi space, you are your own bank, you are your own banker, and you are your own security. So you have to understand how to secure yourself, and that's essentially what we shall be doing all through for the next 1 hour or thereabouts that we shall be discussing here. So let's go on. Now, definition. So what do we mean by DeFi security? Before we go ahead to explain how we can secure ourselves, it's essential we understand what this security we are talking about mean. So decentralized finance or DeFi security is a combination of two words, or we can say three words: DeFi, which is decentralized finance, and security. But however, I believe by now we are familiar with what decentralized finance means, and I won't go over explaining or defining decentralized finance. So security, according to Merriam-Webster dictionary, is the state of being protected or safe from harm. That's simple definition of security. Now, if you move or you try to integrate this definition of security with decentralized finance, so DeFi security simply means having the understanding that as an investor, your security is solely your responsibility, and taking adequate safety measures to stay protected at all times. So, like I explained in just few minutes ago, the major or the key word here is solely your responsibility. In decentralized finance, your security is solely your responsibility. There is no one else that is, or is not a shared, in the traditional space now, the bank have a part to play in your security, because if you notice there are some transactions going on and you go to the bank to report and they can't stop it, then you know that okay, maybe in the bank too there's an insider, like there's an insider assisting in that operation. But in decentralized finance, if you notice something is going wrong, you are the one that have the total control to either stop or eradicate that security. So when you have that understanding that as an investor in decentralized finance, my security is solely my responsibility, that is the number one step to your security, because it's from there that you start developing that consciousness. You start making research on how you can improve or how you can better safeguard your funds, and more like that. So at that point in time, you will be up and doing. Now, there are certain rules that must be obeyed in decentralized finance to safeguard your portfolio. Here in Elite Institute, we call this rule 1 to 10, and this is essentially what we are going to be discussing. We call this rule 1 to 10. So we are going to be exploring this rule 1 to 10 level by level and seeing how we can integrate this into our security. So let's move on. Now, this is the rule 1. Rule 1 here says don't be overexposed. Don't be overexposed. So what do we mean by don't be overexposed? Let's explain let's see what this has to mean. Now, according to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, overexposed means leaving something without covering or protection for too long. So when you leave something without covering or without protection for a long period of time, then you say that thing is overexposed. Well, for this course, or in the context of cryptocurrency, overexposed means leaving or exposing all of your crypto assets to risk. So when you leave your crypto assets to risk, you expose everything to risk, then you are saying you are overexposed. So how do we put this into a context that we can relate? Now, this is what this explanation here is. Take for an instance where an investor has $10,000. The best thing to do is to keep a portion of, let's say, $2,000 for trading, while the rest can be on stables or be staked on a farm to yield interest. So if as an investor you have $10,000 for investment, okay, you have it in your portfolio, in your wallet, the best thing to do is to keep a portion of it for trading. You don't go with all you have into a trade. Okay, so you keep a portion. You can say you can allocate, let's say 10%, you can allocate, let's say 20%, 30%. That is totally left to you. It's up to you, to based on your instinct or your decision, whatever, is up to you. So you can allocate a portion. And do you know the reason why it's advisable we do that? Let's explain. You say no trade is 100% certain, no matter the analysis you carry out, because in the next module you'll be talking on research methodology, where you start learning how to carry out trade analysis, how to predict the prices of tokens so that you can go into it, how to know when a token is probably pump or the token will probably dip. So but I want you to understand that no matter how certain or no matter how proficient you are in technical or your research methodology, it's not 100% certain that what you predicted will always come true. Though most of the times after learning research methodology, most of what you predict will always come true, but it's not 100%. So this, when you have this understanding, it is advisable that you don't go all in with your assets at a single call, at a particular call. When you are entering into a trade, it's not advisable you just take your full $10 or $10,000 or whatever amount or figure you have, and go all in into a particular call just for the sake of say you want to make profit or you want to increase profit or something like that. Okay, so you go with a small portion. It can be 10%, it can be 20%, and you increase your portfolio gradually. See, there are some people they are what they call degens. What are degens? Degens, degens is short for degenerate gamblers. So degenerate gamblers are people that like to take very high risk. Okay, they take very high risk. For example, they might see a coin that is a shit coin, and they know that okay, this coin is something that we later dump or we later rock pull, but they will go all in with their assets. Why do they do this? Because when you are going with all in into a very high risk project, the rewards too are also high. So when you see a high risk project, then definitely you should understand that the rewards are also high. So they go all in with the funds or the assets that they have into that project. That's why they are called degenerate gamblers. But that method of trading is not advisable, because instead of you chasing to use $10 or to use $100 and hit $500,000 or hit $1 million at a single call, it's best to chase what we call consistent money. You chase something that you can be making gradually. That's the best thing to do. That's why you have to ensure that you keep a portion. You don't go all in into this into trading at a particular call. So when you keep a portion, what should happen to the rest? Is it that you just leave the other $8,000 hanging? No. So what can you do? You can leave the rest on what we call stable coins. And I believe stable coins, the concept of stable coins have been explained. So stable coins are cryptocurrencies that are pegged to a particular value, like a stable value. For example, it could be pegged to US dollar. So when the price of the or the market price is fluctuating, it doesn't really affect stable coins. For example, if you go to your CoinGecko now and check USDT, you will notice that it is usually between $1, or you can see maybe 1.000 something dollar or so. Is that amount is usually fixed. If at all it goes up, goes down, the margin is not really high compared to some other cryptocurrencies like BTC, that today you might see it at 42,000, tomorrow you might see it at 48,000, and like that. So stables, like the name implies, stables are stable. They are stable coin. The aim of stable coins is to give you a standard, a spear, a guaranteed value at any particular point in time. So you can leave the rest on stable coins, and because you know that when the price of the market is going up or going down, it doesn't affect it. Or better still, you can stake them on a farm to yield interest. So staking on a farm is more or less like an investment, a guaranteed form of investment, because just imagine there's a microfinance bank and you go to invest in a microfinance bank. You know, microfinance, they give out loans, and when they give out loans, people pay back with interest. So what they do is, when they pay back with interest, just if you put that context in decentralized finance or in blockchain technology, there's what they call decentralized borrowing and lending. So, or there's this other one that, what's it called now? I can't remember the name now. But you know, in decentralized exchanges, when you want to exchange, like you want to trade tokens, you want to swap tokens, you usually pay a little amount of token, like called, is it gas fees now, what is it called, I think gas fees. So that amount of tokens that you pay is people the essence of that gas fee you pay is to ensure that the, like for example now you are sending out to Ethereum and you want to collect BSC, so you have to, it's to ensure that there's a balanced amount of Ethereum and BSC where you are swapping. So there are people that are making their own tokens available for you to be able to swap. When you want to swap Ethereum and BSC, someone that will donate his BSC to you so that you can swap. It's someone that will donate Ethereum so you can swap. So this, those people donating it, when you now pay that gas fee or those transaction charges, is those money are shared among the number of people, as many people that donated for you for that transaction or for that swap to be made possible. I don't know if you get that point, but that's what you, I think in subsequent modules you will still understand more about farming and staking and all. So when you can stake on a farm, you stake your tokens on a farm, on a credible farm. Will be ensure that when you want to stake on a farm, is a credible ones, because there are lots of fake farms out there. So you stake on a farm and it will always yield interest for you. Now rule number 2. So rule number 2 here says avoid being reverse tracked. So what do we mean by this? Avoid being reverse tracked. Let's go on. Now in module 3 we learned about DeFi tools, and one particular tool we learned about was the Zerion. So Zerion can be used to track wallet addresses. Okay, Zerion can be used to track wallet addresses. Now avoiding being reverse tracked is simply having the understanding that knowledge of wallet tracking can be exploited for negative use, and being cautious of this. So like I was explaining, I said just the way you are trying to gather knowledge to use positively, or to use to better yourself, to better your family, to improve your financial status, there are other people out there also gathering knowledge to also better themselves, but at the expense or at the downfall of others. Okay, so when you understand this, is the number one step. You have that understanding at the back of your mind, then you know that any knowledge you are gathering, people are also gathering it for negative purpose. Now this Zerion, we showed, I explained how Zerion can be used to track wallet address, that with the public address of a wallet you can see the balance of that wallet, you can see the transaction. When the person buys a coin, when the person sells a coin, you will see those transactions. The only thing you don't have permission to do is execute on that particular wallet. And when I mean execute, you can't send out cryptocurrency from that wallet. The only thing that gives you the permission to send out cryptocurrency from a wallet is the 12 seed phrase. So when you have control of 12 seed phrase of any wallet, then you can do anything with that wallet. You can send, you can use it to interact with any smart contract and all. So when you have this understanding that wallet tracking can also be exploited for negative use, then you'll be cautious of it. Now how can this be exploited for negative use? There's a particular tactics that is known as the airdrop tactic. So what do we mean by this? Now an airdrop worth a huge amount of money can be sent to your wallet if it has been discovered that it contains some assets. So any attempt to swap the malicious airdrop token can lead to loss of funds from that particular wallet based on the set of codes programmed into the smart contract. So airdrops, the primary function or the primary purpose of airdrops are for marketing. Okay, and for you to be eligible to receive an airdrop, you must have interacted with a platform or done a simple task or done something in the past that will qualify you to receive the airdrop. Because you see these projects, you see projects coming up every day, new projects coming up every day. there are people that are also investing, there are people that are also, they are coming up to actually solve problems. That is if they are not all those what's it called, all those scam projects, but good projects are coming up every day to solve problems in this blockchain that will improve the world. Okay, so when they do airdrop is not just free money, like money just to dash out to people or just to give out millions. No, they are giving it out as a form of marketing to people that they believe have interacted or they have understanding of how their platform works, and those people can further promote the platform. Those are the kind of people projects look out to give out airdrops to. So for you to be eligible for an airdrop, you must have done something. It can be a very simple task depending on the project. It can range from simple tasks to doing multiple things to retweeting tweets on Twitter, or to for those that joined their Discord server early, or it can be, it varies depending on the kind of project. So but the major thing here is to understand that you must have done something that qualifies you to receive an airdrop. You don't just get airdrop anyhow because it's not free money. So if you notice an airdrop worth a huge amount of money was sent to your wallet, and that particular wallet you are having also contains some assets, it can be maybe BSC, it can be, let's say, Polygon, depending on whatever, or depending on the trend at that particular time, and you also have funds in that wallet, then just understand that they are trying to use the airdrop tactic on you. So if you go ahead to attempt to swap that airdrop, and you remember, or you can't remember any platform, any protocol you interacted with that qualifies you for that airdrop, or you still even went on Twitter, you went on Discord to check and see if actually this airdrop, there's a project that was running it, and you can't find any traces, you can't see any legible or any credible credible evidence to believe that a project like that was doing an airdrop, then don't bother swapping it, because any attempt to swap the airdrop can lead to loss of funds from that particular wallet the airdrop was sent to. Because like I said in the last class, in decentralized finance we operate based on smart contracts. Okay, so smart contracts are programmed into the computer and they don't have emotions. It's whatever, garbage in garbage out, it's whatever that has been programmed into them that they execute straight. So once you go ahead to swap that token, it can be that they've programmed it that any attempt to swap the token, the order or the funds, the original funds in that particular wallet should be sent to another wallet, and once it's done, that's automatic loss of funds. So having this understanding that you can be reverse tracked, because blockchain is transparent. From the inception of blockchain technology, like the first transaction, I think was this Satoshi Nakamoto, you can, if you go to what's it called, Bitcoin, this the ledger for Bitcoin, you will see all the transaction from the Genesis block that was mined on Bitcoin. You will see all the transactions on that this thing. So blockchain is transparent. If I happen to send you, let's say, 10 Ethereum today, it is stored on the blockchain and it's there. 10 years to come, you, in as much as there's internet connection, you can still see that transaction. So everything we do on blockchain is transparent. The only thing is your identity is not transparent. Nobody knows who you are, because we only operate with wallets. Like, the last class I showed you how to create a trust wallet account. You can see that it was a very simple step. There was no KYC. We didn't need to put Gmail, your name, your phone number, or anything. So nobody knows who you are. The only thing they know is there's someone out there in this world that has this wallet address and has so amount. So but nobody knows who you are. But everything we do is transparent. So that's that about reverse tracking. Now let's move on to the third rule. Rule 3, don't share your 12 phrase key. In the previous module on DeFi tools, we explained how important the 12 phrase key is, because it grants any user total control of a particular wallet. So when creating a wallet, it's essential you don't share your 12 phrase key. Let's go over some of the rules. Rule 3, sharing your 12 phrase key, also called the mnemonic phrase, is simply handing over the total control of your wallet to whoever you gave the 12 phrase key to. In decentralized finance, the power of finance and security is in your own hands, making you your own bank, your own banker, and your own security. So you should not give your 12 phrase key out to anybody, no matter the condition or no matter what they might be putting down as a reason for you to do so. Because it will get to a point when you start interacting with some protocols and you join their Telegram channels, their Discord community, and let's assume you're having challenges, then you post your challenge on the group for solution. People might just enter your DM preferring to offer you a solution for the challenge you are facing, and initially they will try to gain your trust, they will try to gain your confidence, asking you some question as if they are good. But when it gets to a point and you notice they just ask for your 12 phrase key, just understand that that person has no good for you in mind. Okay, so your 12 phrase key is the it gives total control. If you give it to anybody, if you give it out to anybody, you have given out total control of that particular wallet to whoever you gave your 12 phrase key to. So for no reason at all, because no matter the situation, if you are to, let me give this example. There was a time I was trying to interact with a decentralized exchange. So I was having issues swapping tokens on that exchange. I had to join the community and I posted my question and my issue on their Discord community. Then after I posted my question, I noticed I started getting DMs, about three DMs. One said he was the admin of the project and he's ready to help me solve the challenge I'm facing. Was asking some question, he was asking some question, was asking some question. Then he got to a point and I said, can I drop the 12 phrase key for the wallets I'm having issues with that I'm trying to swap token so that I can see what's wrong and fix it. So immediately I saw that 12 phrase key, I already knew the person is not a legitimate person. Okay, so and most of the times, one thing I want you to understand is when you ask a question on the community, the admins or the legitimate admins of that community will always answer your question in the community. Okay, they will, most of the times they will answer your question in the community. So if you are getting DMs, people are sending you DMs, private DMs, and they are saying they are the devs or they are the admin or they are the owner of the founder of the project, then in most times it's a scam, because devs hardly DM people, they hardly DM the end users, they hardly DM those people. So you must understand that no matter how enticing anybody can be trying to convince you to drop your 12 phrase key, there is no reason at all for you to give out your 12 phrase key. The issue I was actually having that day was issue of slippage. So when I posted that question on the group, the challenge I was having, someone told me to increase the slippage. There's something called slippage. So when I increased the slippage from I think 1% to about 5%, then the transaction was successful. It went through. You don't need the 12 phrase key. Nobody needs your 12 phrase key to solve any issue for you. If you at all you're having any issue, it can be resolved without handing over your 12 phrase key. So for no reason should you share your 12 phrase key with anybody, because in DeFi, like it's written here, you are your own bank, you are your own banker, and you are your own security. So you must ensure you safeguard yourself very well. Now, rule 4, leave no online footprints. What do we mean by online footprints? Let's go on. You have to be careful of the kind of applications you install and the source from which they are installed. Applications like GB WhatsApp, VPNs, etc., which have been modified by third parties, can leave you vulnerable to being tracked. Entering this DeFi space, you have to be very careful of the kind of application you now install and also the source from which they are installed. The most reputable place to install or the most reputable source to install apps from, if you're on the Android operating system, is the Google Play Store, and if you're on iOS, is the App Store. So those are the best place to install apps. When you now start installing applications that have been modified by third parties, for example, there's this popular GB WhatsApp that's been modified, added with laced with added functionalities than the normal WhatsApp. And when they modify it, it voids the warranty or the security of whatever application that has been modified. For example, WhatsApp provides end-to-end encryption. WhatsApp provides end-to-end encryption. If I'm sending you a message on WhatsApp, just I the sender, and you the recipient can view that message, because when I send the message, it's encrypted and it will only get decrypted when it gets to you. So anybody that tries to intercept the message along the way will not understand what it is. But when it has been modified by third parties like GB WhatsApp, that guarantee or that encryption attribute is no longer certain, it's no longer guaranteed. And all these kind of apps, they can be, because they are softwares, there are codes, you don't know the underlying code that has been written or programmed into that application. It can be that the application is that has been programmed also to monitor your screen, that has been programmed to screen record what you are doing on your phone and the like. So you should just be careful of the kind of applications you install, and also the source from which you install them. You should also be careful of the kind of links you click. Don't just click on links anyhow. You just see a link on WhatsApp. Usually there's one that is even rampant. Maybe you just see something like so is giving out $5,000. So is giving out 5,000 naira. Click on this link to claim yours now. All those links can leave you vulnerable to being tracked, because you don't know what is actually happening. When you click on something, you are sending, there's a connection that takes place between your phone and a server somewhere you don't see. So when you click on a link, you click on something, there are a lot of things on the background that you are not seeing. So you should be careful of the kind of links you visit, of the kind of websites you visit. Then you should also be careful of the kind of VPNs you use, because there's, in I think lesson 9 or thereabouts, or lesson 10, rule 10 rather, we'll talk about using VPNs to provide added anonymity, so to make you more anonymous. But you should be careful of the kind of VPNs you use, because the fact that VPNs are good, people also find ways to infuse some negativity, or to use things that are good to carry out evil acts. And if you're always, VPNs are good if you're always but the truth is, how will I say it now? The truth is, most of the times when you want to use VPNs, you will notice the good ones, the really good ones, the popular ones, they come with a price attached to it. And in a bit to, maybe because we feel we might not really need such kind of thing, we might be looking for free, or even I too, I don't do it, I look for free alternative. But when you're looking for free alternative to application, you should be careful, because in a bit to look for free alternative, you might enter into, you might click or do something which can leave you vulnerable to, or can leave your security in danger. Okay, so you should be careful of the kind of application, so you don't leave online footprints in the sense that people can easily track who you are, track where you are, track your balance, and from there start gaining much access to your confidential information. Hackers can hack into people's Gmail to check if their private key are saved there. So it is wrong to keep private keys online. We've emphasized on this. Don't keep your private key in your Gmails or online, or your Gmails, you email yourself your private key. Don't keep your private key online. Some airdrops that require a Gmail address and wallet address might sell that information to hackers. So there are some airdrops that require Gmail address and a wallet address. Understand that although not all, but most of airdrops that requires a Gmail address usually are not original, or they are not legitimate. Let me put it that way. Not all, but most of airdrops that require Gmail address are not legitimate, because like we explained, airdrops is done as a form of marketing, and you are usually required to perform a task. But when they start, you notice airdrops start going far, asking for so much confidential information, then you should be sensitive to understand, to see, to know if they are doing is they are overstepping their boundaries. Okay, now there are some airdrops that when you want to do actually require a Gmail. Okay, for example, there was one that launched early last year, which is the core and Satoshi BTCS. When you want to register, it will require a Gmail. It will even require your name, your full name, to be able to claim the airdrop. That one is legitimate. But the reason why I said most of the airdrops that require a Gmail address are kind of, they are not legitimate is most of them might sell that information to hackers. You see, in this world of technology we are, data is key. Data, and what is data? Data is information about anything. It can be about a person, can be about a car, can be about object, anything that information about something is referred to as data. So data is like the gold in technology. You notice even there was a time Facebook were having issues the way they were keeping what is it called, users data. People that use Facebook, the way they store their data, who they give out those information to. So his data is good in this technology space. So you should be careful of how you give out your data, so you don't leave footprints that will make you very vulnerable to being hacked. So that's essentially what online footprint is all about. You should be careful of applications you install. You should be careful of links you click on. You should be careful of how you interact or where you save your online key. That's that about online footprints. Let's move on to rule 5. Now, rule 5 says don't give your phone to strangers. Now, when people know you are into DeFi, they can use that advantage to get your phone from you, to get access to your confidential information such as your 12-phrase key. Understand that when you are coming into decentralized finance, you are already you are an investor, and your phone is your office. Okay, so if you go to a standard company, you notice the office of the CEO, the office of the director, they are not easily accessible. It's not a place you can just go in and badge in and say you are here to see the CEO or the director. Before you do that, you must have an appointment. You must probably see a secretary before you are eventually allowed it. And even that, if they find out that the reason you want to see the director or you want to see the CEO is not good enough, they can even ward you off and tell you that it's not around or come back at a later date and something like that. The same way that office is safeguarded, that is the same way you should also safeguard your phone. Okay, now because your phone is your office, you should not give it out to strangers anyhow. You should not you should not allow anybody have access to your phone just anyhow. You should not put a password that, even if you are using password, sometimes people use passwords and the password everybody knows it's no longer a password. So if you are using a password, you should ensure, if at all, that people will know your password. It should be someone you trust very well, and you don't, essentially, don't give your phone out. Don't release information on your phone to people just anyhow. Another thing to be mindful of is that I was in the last class, I was explaining something that happened with my PC. So I'm a developer also, and my PC I use, it's a Chromebook. So I've configured it in such a way that when I want to is I configure let me just say I configured it in a way that is optimized for developing, like for programming applications and the like. So it has been configured in that kind of fashion. So in the setting or in the boot menu, when you turn on the computer, it requires you to press a combination of some keys before you can eventually see the normal user interface. So one time I went to my aunt's place and my cousins there, they told me they wanted to watch film, disturbing me. They wanted to watch film on my PC. I said okay, fine. I put a movie for them. I set the PC and I went out. So when I came back, what happened was that the movie finished. They finished watching that movie and they wanted to switch to another movie or something like that. Then I think the PC went off. So when they brought light, they plugged it back and they rebooted it. So when they saw a screen, they were kind of guessing guessing to try and get back to the normal user interface that they are familiar with, but they didn't get it. And unknown to them, the PC, in the initial setup, if you don't press the right combination of keys that have been programmed there, the whole information, the whole data and the computer will be wiped off. So that was exactly what happened. So in their bid to watch that movie, in their bid to get to the normal user interface, they pressed the wrong combination and the whole information I had on the PC wiped off that day. The saving grace for me was, before that they had backed up majority of some of the courses, some of the tutorials, some of all my materials. I've backed up most of them on a external device before that day. That was the saving grace I had. So when I say don't give your phone to strangers, these are kind of things, these are kind of scenarios that can happen. You can give your phone to maybe a child, for example, and they just go ahead and flash the phone mistakenly. There was a time even that same cousin of mine, no, not even my cousin, a friend of mine came to me. Yeah, he said he wants to fix his phone. I said, what happened? He said he don't know. He gave his phone to his cousin, and that one went to press power button and volume buttons. I don't know. Somehow the phone flashed. The full information were wiped off. So these are things that can happen when you just give out your phone anyhow. That's why when you are coming into decentralized finance, you should understand that your phone has become your office. So you should be mindful of the kind of person you give out your phone to. So that's that about rule 5. Let's move on. Rule 6. Rule 6 says decentralize your wallets. So what do we mean by this? Let's move on. Now, decentralize your wallets. It is essential to have different wallets for different purposes, and it costs nothing to open separate wallets. So if you are going into airdrops, it's best you have a wallet, a specific wallet for airdrops. If you are going into NFTs, it's best you have a specific wallet for NFTs. If you are holding projects or a token for long term, you should have a wallet for that. If you are holding a token for short term, you should have a wallet for that. If you are holding a token, let's say low market cap tokens, these are kind of tokens that they are not, maybe you just want to ape in for quick profits, you should have a specific wallet for that also. So decentralize your wallet. In essence, what this means is, don't store all of your cryptocurrencies in one wallet. Don't use a single wallet to do all your transactions in the DeFi space. If you are interacting with airdrop, don't use the same wallet you use for airdrops, for NFTs, for long-term projects, for short-term projects, and the likes. Now, you might be wondering that if you decentralize your wallet, which essentially is you creating new wallets, because a wallet in blockchain technology is synonymous to creating a regular account in your traditional space. For example, if you open a bank account with Zenith Bank, or you open a bank account with UBA, it's the same thing as you creating a wallet on Trust Wallet or opening a wallet on Trust Wallet. So it's the same thing. It's just that the traditional space might require you to go through a lot of process, but in Trust Wallet, like in the last class that we showed or was explained, you notice just a few clicks, you already have control over a wallet. So decentralize your wallet. Have different wallets for different purposes. Now, wallets can also be classified based on their mode of storage. In the last class, I explained that wallets can be classified into two major categories, which is the custodial wallets and the non-custodial wallets. This is based on their control, which is like decentralized exchanges and decentralized exchanges. But wallets can also be classified into subcategories based on their mode of storage, and we have one, cold wallet and hot wallet. So what do we mean by cold and hot wallet? Hot wallet essentially is wallet that requires online, or let me say internet connectivity to operate. So if a wallet requires internet to operate, that's a hot wallet. But if it doesn't require internet to access that wallet, then we say it's a cold wallet. So there are some subcategories of cold wallets. We have the hardware wallet and the paper wallet. Now, what are hardware wallets? Hardware wallets are wallets that are kind of like a small piece of device, external device that you keep. For example, they look like USB. I have a video I will play to explain what hardware wallet is, because right now in decentralized finance, hardware wallets are kind of the safest means of storing your cryptocurrencies. But if you are just getting started, I will not really recommend going into or investing into hardware wallet for a start, because is the costs are kind of on the upside. So but when you get to a level, you might start, when you start having a huge amount of money, hardware wallet can be a very good investment. Okay, so then we have the hot wallet. So hot wallet are wallets that requires internet connectivity for you to access them, and we have the desktop wallets, we have the mobile wallets, and they have the web wallet. So examples of these are your MetaMask, your Trust wallet, your coin, what's it called, Binance. All these are hot wallet. So you must decentralize your wallet. Now a hard wallet guarantees a greater level of security. The hard wallet looks like a USB card or a flash drive, which can be used to save your cryptocurrency assets. It is best to order a hardware wallet from reputable sources, such as directly from the manufacturer's website or from their stores on Amazon. Okay, so hardware wallet is kind of like USB. It's a small device, external device that a small device that you can use to store your cryptocurrency. So when eventually you want to use an hardware wallet, that is what this is saying. It's saying it's best to order from reputable sources. So there's a video here on Trezor Safe 3. This is a hardware wallet. I'm just going to play the video now. It's a 1-minute video, so you can have an idea on what an hardware wallet is. Let me go ahead and play the video. Okay.
As we kicked off the design phase of our new Trezor Safe 3, our mission was crystal clear: to create a wallet that is intuitively easy to use, affordable for many, and meets the needs of the increasingly diverse crowds entering the crypto space. Protect your crypto offline using a hardware wallet for secure self-custody. Secure element and passphrase for bulletproof security. 10 years of keeping our users' crypto safe with 100% transparent, independently audited and trusted code. Manage all your digital assets including Bitcoin, Ethereum and over 7,000 more. Trade, save and transact using the Trezor Suite app. Bright OLED display for clear, easy and secure hands-on verification. Available in 4 premium colors: Solar Gold, Stellar Silver, Galactic Rose and Cosmic Black. Safeguarding your crypto is now easier than ever.
Okay, so that video you just watched now is a Trezor Safe 3 hardware wallet. So you have seen how it looks like. It's a small device, a tiny device. You can see even from the image here, like a USB, a tiny device. So this device is something you can use to save your cryptocurrency assets. So this rule 6 on decentralize your wallet is a very important one, because when you decentralize your wallet, you have basically solved 90% of the issues you have in DeFi security issues you are going to have. You have solved 90% of it, because when you decentralize your wallet, now if you have a central wallet, you are kind of giving hackers a central figure or something unique to aim their guns at. But when you have a different wallet, different array of wallet, it's difficult for you to for hackers to hack into any of those wallets. So when you decentralize your wallet, you've solved 90% of the issue. I can guarantee you that you solved 90% of the issues you have, or DeFi security issues that can possibly come up. So there's a point you might get to and you might start wondering that if I start having up to 8 wallets, 9 wallets, then how do I keep track of this growing amount of wallet? That's why you have your portfolio trackers. So your portfolio trackers helps to to keep track of your wallet. So with portfolio, and in the last class on DeFi tools, I already explained what all these are. Your portfolio trackers example is you can even use CoinGecko for portfolio track. So if you watch the last class, then you understand what portfolio trackers is. So you can use them to keep track of your wallet so that you don't forget you have a wallet somewhere. So let's move on to rule 7. Rule 7 says don't interact with every decentralized exchanges. Now let's go on. Now there are several. This is a very interesting rule because I when I was writing this, when I was preparing the slides, I was looking for an example to use for this rule. There was one that happened, I think last year or last 2 years. I was trying to get the particular link. I could not find it, but while I was preparing it yesterday, I was just going through some articles, reading some news about cryptocurrency. Then this exact thing I'm talking about happened to someone that is a very seasoned veteran in blockchain space. So but let's just explain what it means. Say there are several malicious or cloned decentralized exchanges. Interacting with these malicious sites can lead to wallet draining, which is why it is very essential to always decentralize your wallet. Now, what do we mean by this? There are several malicious or cloned decentralized exchanges. So there's a particular exchange can exist, then people that wants to, like the hackers, the bad guys, they can clone that particular exchange. They will create a lookalike, something that resembles that exchange, and when you mistakenly go ahead to interact with the cloned version of the original, with the cloned version of a particular decentralized exchange, it's automatic loss of funds. So what do we mean by this? Now I listed 2 examples here. If you look at this first link, I hope it's bold enough for everyone to see it clearly. This one highlighted in green. So here is https app.uniswap.org. Now this is the original website, okay, of Uniswap. Now when you say clone, how can they clone this? They can clone this website by just making very little tweaks to the original domain address. Okay, now what are these tweaks? What forms can this tweak take? It can be, now this is Uniswap, UNISWAP. They can decide to change that I to a J. It can be UNJSWAP.org, and you will see it looks very similar. If you just look at it from a far view, you might not even notice there is a slight difference between this and this. And if you go ahead to interact with something like this, then that's automatic loss of fund. Or another thing they can do is, now this is app.uniswap.org. The what's it called? The domain is org.org. They are using .org. Now the hackers can go ahead to change the domain extension and change it to something like .com and use the same domain address. Now app.uniswap.com, if you go ahead and interact with this fake one, then it's automatic loss of funds. So these details, they are very tiny, but you should always watch out for them. Okay, you should always watch out for them. Now this is app.uniswap.org. Understand that it is completely and very different from app.uniswap.com and this unjswap.org. There's a difference between those two. So let's move on to this recent example. I'm still going to send the link of this example so you can just read the article. But I'm going to click on it now. I'm going to click on it so you see what I'm talking about. Okay, that's loaded. Now if you look at the title of the news, it says crypto wallet founder loses $125,000 to fake airdrop website. You can see that this is someone that is a programmer, someone that has built a crypto wallet that stores money, now losing $125,000 to fake airdrop website. So you should understand the gravity of this DeFi security we are talking about, that veterans can be affected, and if veterans can be affected, you should understand that you yourself, you must take your security very, very seriously. So let me point out what the information I'm concerned about here. Now I say a crypto wallet okay, a crypto wallet service co-founder shares with the world his agony after losing $125,000 to a crypto scam. Now, this is a CEO of a company. He said the startup CEO, who believed at the time it was on a legitimate cryptocurrency airdrop website. You can see that airdrop website. So most of the times, all these crypto scams usually arise from airdrops. Okay, they usually start from airdrops. So you must be very careful. The kind of, if you are going into airdrops, be very careful the kind of airdrop you go into. The kind of, you should make sure you make. In fact, the next module we are talking on, research methodology, ensure you take that module seriously and you understand the core things you need to learn there, because from airdrop you can, someone can, I don't wish that to end, because even since I've been here in Airlines Institute, I've not noticed anybody lose out funds, because we take our time to teach these principles. So you should be careful the kind of airdrop you interact with. Now, this person lost 125,000 trying to gain airdrop. Let's move on. Let's see what happened. Now, his name is Bill Liu, co-founder of Nest Wallet, a cryptocurrency wallet startup, has been left feeling devastated after being scammed by what appeared to be a crypto giveaway website to him at the time. So I just got scammed of 125,000 of staked Ethereum while trying to claim the LFG airdrop, and I'm faking. Okay, that's the F word. I'm a founder of a wallet startup that is trying to improve wallet security. Can imagine that this is someone that is building a wallet that is trying to improve security, being scammed. So let me show you. I'm trying to look for the place, the line. This is it. This is it. Now, the CEO made the mistake of believing. No, that's not what I'm looking for. Okay, let me highlight it. The now removed article was intended to drive traffic to a look-alike phishing domain. Now look at this. The domain, the original domain, is supposed to be lessfeesandgas.org. Okay, this is supposed to be. Let me copy it and paste it. Yeah, or let me just copy the link so that we go through it later. Let me share the link. Let me share the link. Okay, so the link is on the group now, so you can go through it later, or you can even open it as I'm explaining right now, so you see what I'm explaining better. Okay, so the original website, this person, why is this hard still here? The original website this person was trying to interact with was lessfeesandgas.org, but the website this developer was on was lessfeesandgas.io. So there was a twerk in the domain extension the person was trying to access, and due to that they were able to siphon $125,000 from his account. I don't know why this ad is not closing. I don't know. So they were able to siphon $125,000 from his account. So it's very essential that you are careful. You are very careful with the kind of decentralized exchanges you interact with. You should always check through the domain, check through the lines, ensure that it's not something, it's not a mistake, that there's no mistake there, that if it's the extension, if it's .org, you use .org, if it's .com, you use .com. That's why you have tools like your CoinGecko, your CoinMarketCap. On these tools you can check the details, because for a project to be listed on CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap, that means they've gathered reputable like they have been found credible. Okay, though the fact that they are listed on CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap is not a guarantee that the project is is legitimate. But what I'm trying to say is the information you find about that project on CoinGecko is the original source. Okay, so if you go to your CoinGecko and you click on the information about the tone, and you will see how I'm talking about it. So when you go to try and you check the details of the project, the original website, the original website about that project, and other information, legitimate information, from there you can make your research. Okay. So that's that out Dexys. Let's move on. Creating wealth is easy. The difficult part is sustaining wealth. Is one thing to generate wealth, is another thing to sustain wealth. That's why I say I'm taking my time to explain each of these 7 or each of these 10 rules. So I already explained what rule 7 is. Don't interact with every decentralized exchange, and when you want to interact, always cross check to ensure you are interacting with the original, with the confirm or the legitimate website of the particular exchange or project you are trying to interact with. So I gave out this example. I already published, or I posted the link on the group. So maybe after the class, you can just go through the article and read it and see what I'm trying to explain. So let's move on to rule 8. Rule 8 says use very strong passwords. So this one too is an important rule, and in fact is a rule that is kind of ignored by most people that use technology for their days, because even in your Twitter, your Instagram, when you open these accounts, you are required to use passwords. And I remember there was a time when this social media just started becoming a thing. Then you'll be hearing things like what's it called, password should be fun and memorable. So you should pick something that you can easily remember so that you don't forget the password. But these days, passwords should not be fun and memorable. A password should be a password. So what do we mean by this? Let me show you some statistics. So point 1 here is a password should not be fun and memorable. It should be a password. Okay, so like the analogy I was trying to explain, I said when all this, is it Facebook and so wake up, there was a time several years ago, I read one article. They were saying when you wanted to create your password, pick something that is fun and memorable, something you can easily remember, and short, fun, memorable. But these days, password should not be fun and memorable. It should be a password, because a password helps ward off unauthorized access to a particular app or data or information or website or whatever have you. So a password should serve as a password. Then secondly, decentralize your password. What do we mean by this? Now, decentralize your password. Most times there is a statistic I was reading, was it 2 days ago, that majority of people are, or not majority is not, I've forgotten the actual figure they used in that article, but quite a large number of people use the same password for virtually most of all the website or resources they interact with. So decentralizing your password here means that you should you should use separate, just the way you decentralize your wallet, you should use unique and individual password for different platforms that you interact with. Now, when you use different password for different platforms, let's assume you have a Twitter, you have a Discord, you have a Medium account, and you are using different password for each of these, then it can become really stressful to keep track of those passwords. That's why we have password manager. So this brings us to point 3. They say use a password manager to keep track of your password. So you use a password manager to keep track of your password. There are apps, the application. You go on Play Store and you search for password manager, you see to bring out a list, several of them that you can use. So password manager is more or less like a book. It's a ledger. Inside that password manager, you can now store your passwords there and save it and lock that application with a unique password. Okay, so when you want to search for a password manager, the technique I usually use on on Play Store is I go on Play Store and search. After searching, I include the keyword editor's choice. I include the keyword editor's choice on that particular website, so on Play Store rather. So when you include that keyword, for example, you say password manager editor's choice. When you click on that, it will show you the ones that have a high rating, or the ones that people have, that people view, that people rate positively. That's just the key point there. So you use a password manager to keep track of your password. Now, this image here is I didn't include the source. Okay, but the source is Hive Systems. There's a website called Hive Systems. I didn't include it here. So I got this image from Hive System, and it's trying to show you the statistics that it will take for a computer to use there's an algorithm called brute force algorithm to hack a password. Now, on the right side of the table, the first column, we have the number of characters. The second column is numbers, and the remainder of the remaining columns is a combination of passwords. So if you look at this now, if you have, let's say, a password of 4 characters, and it consists of only numbers. So if you trace this from row, should I call this 1 now? Let me just call it 1, since this is the kind of title. So if you trace this from row 1 here, which is 4 characters, and you trace this one to numbers only, that is a password of 4 characters with only numbers, a computer with brute force algorithm can hack that password instantly. Okay, so let me explain what brute force algorithm, so you understand what I'm saying. Brute force algorithm, you see, algorithm is like the number of what's it called, how would I put it now, number of steps you take to solve a particular problem. That's what we refer to as algorithm. So usually we look for the shortest possible steps to, for example, if you are going to a market, you evaluate, okay, if I take this road, is this road faster than this other route? Is this route faster than this route? Okay, so despite the fact that a route is shorter than let's say an alternative route, does not mean that in all condition, in all season, that route will always be the best. Because it's short, it will always be the best to always follow. So brute force algorithms, actually not brute force now, algorithms looks for a way to find the shortest way to solve a problem. It's just a way of solving problems in a number of steps, in a finite number of steps. So brute force algorithm now is a type of algorithm that uses all the possible combinations. It tries all the possible combinations. For example, if you are going from point A to point B, brute force algorithm will test all the possible routes that leads from point A to point B before it finds the shortest route for you. Okay, that's what brute force algorithm is. So if you are using a character of 4 and consists of numbers only, with a computer on an algorithm, on a brute force algorithm, it can be hacked instantly. And if you are using a password with just 4 characters and consists of lowercase letters only, it can be hacked instantly. So if you trace it, you notice that the ones in purple in this infographic are what can be hacked instantly. Then you notice that there's a shift in, you start seeing red in some places. Now let's pick this one for example. If you have a password with 6 characters and it consists of numbers, uppercase and lowercase letters, then a computer running a brute force algorithm, it will take just 1 second to hack that that password. Okay, now your aim when creating a password, the essence of what of all this I'm explaining is that your aim when creating a password is to be in these green regions. Okay, when you have a password that is in these green regions, then at least we can say your password is very strong. Because when I was even writing this slide, initially the topic was use strong password, but I had to go back and add this because it's essential that you use a very strong password. And password is something that many people neglect, they just ignore. You see, most of the time, in the statistics I was reading, it said most people use their dog names or the names of their first child as password, and or the age of the first child as password, and those things are easily predictable. So your region, your aim should be in this green region. An example is, now let's trace one. You can see one of the green regions is here. So if you trace this row, you will notice that that is a password on 15 characters consisting of numbers, uppercase, lowercase, and symbols. So if you have a password of 15 characters that consist of numbers, uppercase, lowercase, and symbols, a computer running a brute force algorithm, it will take approximately 15 billion years 15 billion years to hack into that part, to get to hack that password. Okay, so just trace it. I will probably send this particular infographic later on, so you can just trace it. If you look at this now, a password with 17 characters consisting of upper and lowercase letter, it will take approximately 100 billion years to track. Though I don't know the statistics that they used in coming up with this, because this can be approximate values, but it goes to show how you can secure your password. So when creating a password, you should have it in mind that the minimum characters you should use should be 15. If you at least 15, so that it can be very secure. Okay, you should have at least 15. And the best way to create password is to use a combination of numbers, uppercase letters, lowercase letters, this capital and lower and small letters, then symbols. Can be art symbols, can be the colon, can be the dollar, it can be the euro, it can be whatever. Just include some of these when creating a password. So when you use a very strong password for your website or for your to secure your data, it's difficult for hackers to kind of gain access into it. Okay, now you might be wondering, password, Trust Wallet doesn't require password, so why are we mentioning password? Now your Twitter, when you are creating your Twitter, your Discord, these are places from which hackers can also target, because they know most of the times your Twitter, their informations, definitely you tweet things there that that are related to your to decentralized finance, and from there they can track you. So in this, when you are creating something that requires you to create a password that consists of numbers, a mixture of numbers, letters, and alphabet and the like, it's best to just use this principle of 15 characters, numbers rather, upper, lowercase letters, and symbols. So that's that about password. Let's quickly move on to the rule 9. I want us to round up in the next 10 minutes or thereabouts. We've spent much time. So use 2FA where applicable. What do I mean by 2FA? 2FA is two-factor authentication. Okay, two-factor authentication. Now, there are some scenarios whereby you might use a password and eventually that password is breached. Okay, that's where this 2FA comes into play. 2FA comes into play when you have a password and it has been breached. Though most of the times passwords that are breached are passwords that were not really strong in the first place. Okay, where maybe just consisted of just lowercase letters, and in short period of time hackers have been able to get access to the password and what's it called, gain access to the data the password was trying to prevent or restrict other people from accessing. So using 2FA is a kind of double proof. Like you put on clothes, you now put on a kind of double clothes, kind of, how do I put it now, it's just kind of a double check to ensure that, okay, if people are eventually able to breach the password stage, then this one will serve as a guide. So what's 2FA? Let's go more into that. Now 2FA, or two-factor authentication, is 2FA. We call it 2FA for short. Is a user identity verification method that uses a combination of two possible factors to grant access to a website or an application. So it uses a combination of two possible factors. That's why it's called two-factor authentication, to gain access to a website or an application or whatever have you. So When you input a website, you input your password. After inputting the password, the system will say, okay, fine, yes, you inputted the correct password, but I still need to be sure that it's the owner, the legitimate owner of this application, of this website or whatever, that's accessing this. So you still have to show me a kind of confirmation again for me to be certain that yes, this is the legitimate owner. And that's when 2FA comes into play. So this 2FA can be password, passphrase, PIN, or a secret question. It can be a combination of either of these three categories, or it can involve entering a one-time password generated by a hardware or software authenticator. And a software authenticator, we have one like if you go on Play Store and you just browse Google, maybe on a separate day I will send a tutorial on how to use Google, or you can just go on YouTube and search how to use Google Authenticator. So Google Authenticator is a software authenticator. What does it do? It creates a one-time password. I think every 60 minutes it will be generating new numbers, new numbers. So these new numbers, when you request that one-time password, you open the Google Authenticator. That is after you have registered, and the registration process is not something that is very elaborate. Okay, so when you register, you just go on that particular app and to generate a one-time password that you will have to enter that password even after putting in the original password of that particular website before you can be granted the access to the website. Now, the third authentication can require the user to authenticate using your biometric data, which is your fingerprint scanner or your fingerprint sensor or your face ID or whatever. Your fingerprint and face ID are the most commonly used types of sensor. So 2FA will require two of these, and most of the times this is usually required if the website notice someone is trying to access it from a different device. Okay, for example, now let's assume you've registered your Gmail on your phone, is registered on this particular phone you are using, and they notice you want to access that Gmail on a different phone. That's when most times 2FA comes into play. That's when you will notice the power of 2FA. So if the person puts in the password, they will tell you, okay, on the initial device that this Gmail, or the device that which this Gmail is presently active, we need you to enter a one-time password that is on a software, let's say Google Authenticator, for example, because that's the one I also use. The one-time password generated on that software authenticator. Okay, so if failure to provide that additional information voids the person or voids the login attempt of that individual. So 2FA is a very useful feature, and I said where applicable because this is not applicable in all situations. For example, in your Trust Wallet, 2FA is not applicable, but for your Gmails, you can use 2FA for Gmails, you can use 2FA for Twitter, you can use 2FA for your Discord accounts and whatever have you can use 2FA. So where applicable, you can always check the sites you are using. For example, Twitter, Gmail, check how you can set up your two-factor authentication and go ahead and turn it on so that you are safe in case, if at all, in case there's a password breach, then you will have a kind of double layer to protect you. So let's move on to the last rule, which is rule 10. Rule 10 says utilize VPNs for added anonymity. So VPNs are, in the last, I think rule 1 or rule 2 or thereabout, I was explaining that VPNs don't install VPNs. I wasn't saying don't install VPNs. What I was saying is if you are to use VPN at all, ensure that you use from reputable, from reliable sources. You don't use VPNs from just anyhow sources. So VPN is a very good as at the time it came out, it's a very good innovation because it helps protect you from the information you are trying to get or from the information you are trying to interact with. So it serves as a covering. Let me see. Oh, this is a conclusion. I put a video there before, but I don't know, it's not there anymore. So VPN, what it does is when you send information to the internet, then it goes to the VPN, and the VPN will kind of create a tunnel that will encapsulate that information, or we encrypt is the better word to use, that will encrypt the information before sending it to. So you can utilize VPNs for added anonymity, like to make yourself more anonymous, like people don't know exactly, because when you are more anonymous, like it's difficult to actually track or to hack someone you don't know. You don't know anything, you don't know any information about that person, then it's difficult to hack that kind of person. So you can utilize VPNs for added anonymity. But when you want to install VPNs, it's best you, because most of the times you might see free VPNs, but most of the times free VPNs don't really, they are not really effective, and you should be careful of the kind of places you install VPNs, because hackers can also create VPNs and tell you they are also VPNs, and from there, like I was explaining, that they can use that to start monitoring the activities on your phone and such and such. So you should be careful, and you should understand that most times if you are looking for quality service, like quality service, or you are looking for quality products, then most of these quality products are not free. So if you are trying to get a VPN, you might find a free one. For example, there is one on, I use one on what's it called, Opera browser. If you go on the Opera on Play Store rather, and install Opera browser, it comes packaged with a free VPN, and it works fine. Well, it works fine for me. Though if you want to select your own location, you want to make some other customization, added customization, it requires you to pay some amount of money for it. Okay, but the free version also works fine for me. That's for browsing, just for browsing. There are some VPN that covers only browsing, like when you go on browser to browse, cover only. There are some VPNs that they are kind of like programming. You program them into the phone, so anytime you are doing anything on the phone, the entire information is kind of is covered or something like that. So in essence, VPNs can increase what's it called, increase your it can lower your risk of being hacked, because like I said earlier, when you are not known, or people, you can't, in essence, you can't hack someone you don't know. Okay, so with VPN you can be more anonymous. Now, in conclusion, DeFi, decentralized finance, is a fast-growing industry, and it is essential to keep on making research and evolving. Understand that bad guys are constantly looking for loopholes to exploit to their advantage. So you should always be a step ahead in your DeFi security. Okay, some investors have never been hacked since venturing into decentralized finance, and it's true. There are some people in this decentralized finance space for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. They've been in decentralized finance, and they've for once never been hacked. And there are some people that enter into just 3 weeks into DeFi, hackers have gained access to them. So that is to show you how they are able to take up their DeFi security. Okay, so when you follow all these rules 1 to 10, these steps that we've explained in this module, and you follow them, you take each of these points, you are always cautious of them, then there's no way hackers can gain access to you. And more importantly, you must keep on researching and evolving, because don't these rules now, they are not quite, they are relevant, and they are very relevant at this present time. But in, let's say, a few years time, 4 5 years, you don't know, whatever, hackers might have developed better strategies that might even make some of these rules obsolete. Okay, so you must always keep researching, you must always keep evolving, trying to see, okay, what are the possible ways by which people can hack into wallet, what are the new tactics they are trying to, or hackers are using now, and see how you can safeguard yourself from it. So, because like I said, the most important thing is sustaining money. Getting money is not actually difficult. The difficult part is sustaining money. For example, if I tell you to go and print out your statement of accounts for the year 2023 and look at the total ins and the total outs, like total money that came in, total out, you notice that it's not a small money. But if you check and you this, I don't know, but if you check, you notice that it's not small money that came in, it's not small money that went out. So keeping the money that comes in is much more difficult, okay, than bringing the money in itself. The same way it is here too. So you must always make sure that you are always a step ahead, you are always researching, you are always evolving. Now, these are just some key points that you can just note. A decentralized exchange token trading on a centralized exchange does not make it a centralized token. So if you have a decentralized exchange, for example, Trust Wallet token is a decentralized exchange token that was created to serve as, I think, the governance token on Trust Wallet. So if it is trading on a centralized exchange like Binance, that doesn't mean, or that doesn't make that token a centralized token. So centralized exchanges can also list decentralized tokens, okay? So you can list decentralized tokens. Now, point two, centralized tokens always list their tokens because of profit. Each time you buy and sell on centralized exchange, they make a profit, but they won't give you much from it. And that's the truth. Exchanges like Binance, when you buy and sell, you usually pay a little amount of money for transaction fees, but most of the times this fees goes directly back to Binance. But in decentralized exchanges, these platforms make money too, but the majority of the money goes back to the people. And this is the farming, the staking and farming I was explaining the other time. So when you stake your coins, when you stake your cryptocurrencies into a farm, or you stake it into a pool, and people exchange token, people start utilizing that pool, they start swapping tokens on that exchange, on that dex, they swap tokens. Those transaction fees that you notice people are paying, those small amount of money, they're actually going back into people's wallet. So when you stake your tokens on those exchanges, then it goes back to you. That's why you see people stake or farm tokens on decentralized exchanges more. Then don't hold your coin for the long term on centralized exchanges. It's not advisable you hold coins on the long term on centralized exchange, and I've explained how you can safeguard. I even said if you want to take your what's it called, your security, your DeFi security to the next level, you can utilize a centralized a hardware wallet rather. You can utilize a hardware wallet, okay? That will literally take your DeFi security to the next level. Now, the secret about these things is that you must utilize protocols, okay? So all we have been saying is not to put fear into you, is not to make you scared of interacting with it, it's just to make you aware. Because even the Bible said it, that go into the world but have overcome. You will face trials and tribulation but have overcome. So it's the same way here too in DeFi security, in DeFi space. We are explaining all this to you, not to make you scared, but to just make you aware that there are tactics like this. And when you see it, you should just laugh and say, okay, fine, we already have an idea on what this person is trying to do, and you be able to overcome that challenge. So you must utilize protocols, because airdrops they work on people, that they reward people that utilize their protocol. So you see the example I dropped on the group on the person that lost 125,000 recently this year. That was, I think, January 5. Today is 7 now. Yes, today is 7. So the person lost 125,000 this year. So that, and trying to utilize a protocol, lessfeesandgas.org or so. So you must utilize protocols, because decentralized finance will reward those that are actually utilizing protocols. So some platforms also reward their users just for staking their token. So when you stake a token on a particular platform, at the end of the day, that platform might decide to, okay, let's just do a kind of airdrop to boost publicity of our of our project, and you that stake your token on that particular exchange, you be a beneficiary, you'll be eligible to receive the airdrop. So ensure to always utilize any knowledge you have. Don't just know to know, but also know to become. So all this knowledge you are gathering, all this knowledge you are you are learning, make sure you utilize them. For example, you learned on creating strong password. At the end of the day, don't go when you want to now create a Gmail, or when you are opening a Twitter or opening a Discord account, you now use a kind of something 123 something 123 for your password. Don't do something like that. You should ensure you always use strong passwords. Okay, so utilize any knowledge you have. Don't just know to know, but also know to become. So thank you all for joining in today's class. I really appreciate you, Mr. Okay, Mr. Who is left on the course? Mr. Joseph and Mr. Joshua. Mr. Joshua has logged out already. All right. Okay, it's back. Mr. Joseph, Mr. Joshua. Thank you all. So the recording will be made available tomorrow. You can go through it again in case there's any thing you don't understand. But for now, is there any question? Is there any question based on this rule 1 to 10 we have talked about? Is there any question? Is there any question? Is there any question? Okay. I'm not hearing any response, so I want to assume that there are no questions, but the group is always open. Anytime you have a question or anytime there's something you don't understand, you can always drop your question on the group. I will be sure to respond to you as soon as possible. So thank you for your time. Thank you for staying till the very end. Do have a good night's rest. Thank you, and see you next class. Good night.